Welcome back. Let's move on to some sports now. Here's Charles Aruka.
Welcome to Sports News. It's another gold medal and another world record for Team Nigeria in the powerlifting event at the 2016 Paralympic Games. Nigeria's Josephine Orji this evening lifted a 160 kg to win gold in the women's plus 86 kilogram powerlifting event, dazzling all the way to setting a new world record in her event. In her first attempt, she shattered the Paralympic record when she successfully lifted 151 kg. She improved on her performance when she also successfully lifted her world record of 154 kg. Orji did not stop at that, as she requested for a 160 kg, which she also successfully lifted. With a record 8 gold for Nigeria, the team has surpassed the London 2012 performance of 6 gold medals. In soccer, coach Bala Nikiu has assured football fans that the Flamingos will be ready for the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Jordan later this month. Nikiu said there's been a remarkable improvement in the squad, which has been in camp in Abuja since the end of July. The Flamingos have played 6 test games since resuming camp, winning 5 and drawing 1. The Flamingos have participated in every edition of the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup since its inception in 2008. And in club soccer, Sergio Aguero struck a second hat-trick of the season as Manchester City dominated Borussia Mönchengladbach in their Champions League opener. Leicester City celebrated their first ever Champions League match by romping to victory away to Belgium's Club Brugge. Borussia Dortmund went goal crazy as they hammered Poland's Legia Warsaw 6-0. Cristiano Ronaldo scored late as holders Real Madrid came from behind to beat Sporting Lisbon 2-1. Juventus and Sevilla played out a barren draw, while Olympic Lyon thrashed Dinamo Zagreb 3-0. Newly elected UEFA President Alexander Ceferin has dismissed reports that he was favored by FIFA's president. There were media reports that Ceferin, who was little known outside Slovenia before the election, was supported by FIFA President Gianni Infantino. In his campaign, the 42-year-old promised to help the smaller countries and leagues in the face of a growing divide between a handful of rich clubs and everyone else. Meanwhile, in a speech bidding farewell to European football leaders before they elected his successor as UEFA president, Michel Platini insisted he had a clear conscience. Platini said he is convinced he did not make the slightest mistake, and the legal battle to clear his name will continue. He thanked football stakeholders for their courage and loyalty to support him in the past months. The former France captain was allowed by FIFA's Ethics Committee to deliver the UEFA Congress speech on Wednesday, despite serving a 4-year ban over an improper payment. And Germany's Football Association DFB President Reinhard Grindel has sharply criticized Frank Beckenbauer over a payment from a sponsor for the 2006 World Cup. Beckenbauer, who led the organizing committee for the World Cup in Germany that year, claimed he had done the work on a voluntary basis. He received 5.5 million euros from a deal involving event sponsor Oddset, though he was not paid directly by the betting company, but through the DFB as part of a deal that was only revealed yesterday. The former German captain and coach, who also faces a criminal investigation over the awarding of the World Cup, has not been available for comments. That's the final whistle on sports news, and back to Ijoma with the rest of the news at 10.
The African Union has stepped into Gabon's political crisis, promising to send a team of observers to help it deal with the legal complaints lodged by the main opposition challenger in the recent poll, Jean Ping. Mr. Ping had last week applied to the Gabon Constitutional Court to authorize a recount of votes from a major stronghold province of President Ali Bongo. The EU observer team had cited anomalies in the poll's results from the province, but the president had criticized their report, saying they had crossed the line. He says he has no faith in the Constitutional Court because of its ties to the Bongo family. Members of the British Parliament have blamed leaders in Britain and France for their mode of intervention into the political crisis in Libya that led to the eventual overthrow of military dictator Muammar Gaddafi. Former British Prime Minister David Cameron got most of the blame as the Foreign Affairs Committee accused him of lacking a coherent strategy for the air campaign, citing poor intelligence. The intervention had been called by the Arab League and was approved by the United Nations Security Council.
Britain and France led international efforts to help oust Libya's then leader, Muammar Gaddafi, in early 2011, using fighter jets to beat back Gaddafi's armies and allow rebels to topple the long-time dictator. But Libya has since suffered years of chaos. Islamic State has gained a foothold. Former rebels still fight over territory, and people smugglers have set up a huge operation, sending tens of thousands on the perilous sea journey to Europe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
This outcome, the UK Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee says, can be blamed on Mr. David Cameron. The committee says Cameron, who ran Britain from 2010 until July this year, had a decisive role in the decision to intervene and must bear the responsibility for Britain's role in the crisis in Libya. Earlier this year, US President Barack Obama also said European allies had become distracted from the Libyan crisis after the intervention. However, the president's office later said he had not intended to be critical of Cameron. Mr. Cameron stepped down as Prime Minister after losing a referendum to keep Britain in the European Union, and on Monday resigned as a Member of Parliament, saying he did not want to become a distraction for his successor, Theresa May.
And the main news again. Residents of Oshogbo, the Osun State capital, have been counting their losses today after torrential rains hammered their town. Devastation. The state governor, Rauf Aregbesola, has given the assurance that all waterways will be cleared to prevent a recurrence. Also today, the National Space Research and Development Agency offered an explanation for the earth tremor in Jaba local government area of Kaduna State, blaming the occurrence on passive sources. And the African Union has intervened in Gabon's election crisis with a pledge to send observers to investigate complaints lodged by opposition challenger Jean Ping. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Do have a good night.